you can think of this as like, if you were going to put $10,000 to work or $20,000 to work, which company would you want to put it in? Because you think that company has the highest chance of giving you a return. So let's talk about, I guess, PTO Genius to start.
I think he is in a niche that I didn't even know existed. I don't know how big this is. I have a problem for many companies that keeping time off on the balance sheets. I don't know. I'll defer to you guys to.
Just a lot of much more full-featured products in this space, or ones where there's not like a decent solution. Like PTO is something where most people have some system rather than just no system. So I find that the one-off solutions work better if there's really just like nothing available. Otherwise, I think like much more full-featured, HR, IT, and provisioning sort of suites like Rippling are going to do a lot better in this space. So I wasn't especially excited about this one.
Great. Let's talk about Artify.
I would say that's a good company. It was top on this list for me. They have good backgrounds, and I could see their use case quite well. Sometimes I put up, quick events and invites and so forth, and I could, this really seemed like good design, good team. And if I were to probe a little bit more, I would kind of promote that they go after a very different business model, that partnering like a paperless post or partnering with like creating a lot of channel partners, which has not been done, but I think that would be a good way for them to get anyone with no Photoshop or other skills to adopt them fast and still get usage. And they had a good generally good so I would say that would be my top choice here, without discussing any other companies.
Yeah, I thought that they didn't quite understand their business model. I didn't really understand exactly why they chose their pricing versus more like one-off pricing. Yeah, the focus was like really broad, but really it's about the sort of icons and the assets and being able to just like sub those in. And them not really having a really clear idea of who their target demographic was or how they were going to do distribution to them made me a bit concerned about them. So I ranked them pretty low on my list.
So I rank Artify as like number 3 on my list. I think they have a great asset, like with the icon shock stuff and the huge community behind it. They don't seem to highlight that enough in their presentation. I think if you're talking about dollars in versus what valuation you can get, the fact that they're all in Colombia means that 10 grand, the hypothetical 10 grand could buy a much bigger chunk of the company than it could any of the US based ones. But I think their business model, they honestly should have said, we're Canva for X, and it would have been a better pitch than the way they sold it.
I'm agreeing with all the comments. Plus, I think it's a fairly fragmented market as well. I don't know how they're going to be able to consolidate the powers and then be able to address. I mean, I think I will have to be able to use their UI UX and to understand their product better to be able to even think about what's a more appropriate path for them. It was a little too fast.
Yeah. To me, I think the two that stood out of the others were Command.Dot and Approvely. Approvely is a little, requires a little more technical understanding of how the actual transaction happens. That I think in just 2-3 minutes, it's just hard to talk about. But fraud is obviously a huge thing, and if the stats on their pilots are true, that they're being able to reduce a fraction of fraud by 65%, probably something there. Command.Dot, I think the price was off-putting. But they haven't even launched, right? So pricing, like their idea of pricing says nothing.
Nico, why do you think the price is too high or too low?
Feels too high, like $15 per, I don't know. I think
Superhuman is 30.
Yeah, but it's full email, right? And so the optimizing kind of your entire email stack could save you a lot more time than just the scheduling.
Yeah, I spend hours a day in Superhuman. I would spend a few minutes per day on this calendaring.
Right. That's kind of my sense. Would I pay $1 or $2 to be able to just streamline this? Yeah, maybe. But I don't think that too hard right now because they haven't even launched, right? And so I think they're going to start A/B testing, and they're going to find that 15 is too expensive. And those are kind of the two that I would rank as the two winners for me, Austin.
We have Sustalytics, Approvely. Who else is there? There's yes, Funday. Funday was there.
Monday seems like it's like a fun business when it's really just a brutal logistics business. And I don't like the idea that, like, you know, they're talking about these being able to get these exclusive deals, you know, beach like blanket or umbrella and stuff rental leaves no trash, has no extra people sort of coming and going. It, you know, I think the reason why, you know, the parks are allowing that versus other types of vending is because it's like a no trash kind of thing, and they think it increases beach usage. I don't think necessarily this is going to like massively increase beach usage and could leave the beach pretty trashed if you're getting like Burger King delivered. So I don't think they're going to get those permits.
Got it. And then there was SalesAmp and Cargo Logic. Did those hit top two for anyone?
Cargo Logic is a huge opportunity for sure, but there's a lot of people building things in this space, and you're talking about trying to sell software to these absolutely enormous freight forwarding businesses that are not going to take like a tiny company like this seriously. It's the kind of thing where you kind of have to bootstrap it some other way till you get to a sizable, you know, deployment, and then you can say, hey, we're ready for these kind of companies. But like someone like Maersk isn't going to be able to do that. Plus, they're already so entrenched in their existing systems that I don't expect them to sort of just suddenly adopt this stuff. So yeah, so I'm not super bullish on that.
Josh, I think you have like, sorry to be contrarian, but I think in Cargo Logic, they're actually going after the small scale operators, because they can't be competing with the type of software that I built for Maersk and things like that. And but here's their challenge, like, and this is why I think it's going to fail, is that it takes days to set up and understand the business process for any one of these individual freight forwarders. They're all individually different. And at $30 a month, you're never going to recoup the cost, the weeks of time it takes you to design and adapt for one customer. And many, like there's like 7,000 or 8,000 of these little small shop freight forwarders, and they all are 2 to 3 people, you know, who would be using this. So like, are you going to spend two grand on a biz dev sales guy to like make a $900 a year sale? Like,
yeah, my takeaway,
Yeah,
Cargo Logic, was it is like Shopify to the Amazons of that market, right? It is some piece of self-serve software that is opinionated about process, and you have to use it like that or buy an add-on for it.
mm-hmm.
With Shopify, you can pretty quickly understand like what's going on and how this is working. The training phase is a lot faster, versus this is something which is a lot more complicated to get somebody onboarded through.
Agreed.
Cool. And then Sustalytics, we haven't really talked about that one at all.
What did they do?
They do surveys for fashion companies to ensure that the fashion companies aren't overproducing line clothing or particular pieces of clothing, to try to eliminate waste and save money, obviously.
I actually quite like that one. I was thinking of the other analytics platform that must be the sales focused one. Yeah, I actually like them quite a bit.
Great. So the last step will be to push all these videos online and then have a community vote, and the winner will be announced. Thank you very much for your participation. Very excited to get this out to the world.